Ojalá que me encuentren aquí. Y si no, de todos modos por allí voy.
Thanks to Patricia, we managed to actually go to the house of a lady whose husband had just died that year. And so we saw firsthand basically how Mexican people celebrated the Night of the Dead. So when we turned up at the house of Donna Hilaria, she just greeted us as if we were like family members or friends. And
Y él, entonces, él era músico, sí. Tocaba el clarinete. ¿Le gustaba?
El mole.
El mole. ¿Y dónde está su platito con mole?
No le hicimos.
Y se va a enojar. Se va a enojar.
Pues ya que vuelva para el otro año.
Pues le va a dar lata todo el año. Le va a estar diciendo mi mole. Y le va a tener que hacer doble mole el próximo año, ¿verdad?
Very moving experience to be allowed into their home and just to be treated exactly like any of their friends. So that was really I found that very touching, and they gave us some special drink, and I'm not quite sure what that drink was made of. And she took us past that round to the back of the house, where there was a whole group of women cooking in huge pots over open fires, preparing the tamale for the evening, for when all the friends and people come to the house. But yeah, I mean, they just took us into their home, and they just showed us how they made the tamale. They allowed us to help make the tamale.
Exactamente. Aquí no se distingue la persona que venga ni raza ni color.
Atole. Salud. Atole.
Unas tortillas azules. Hija, tráete unas tortillas azules del... No, ahora
a mano. No,
échela.
Mire esa. Mire, doña, ella es Colombia.
La tuya es esta. ¿No?
¿Cuántos canastos?
También fueron 25 kilos.
25 kilos.
Qué bueno que nos visita. Con carne también. Muchas gracias, muy amable.
Okay.
People bring these little horses with ornaments and food and things hanging off them, and they bring them in to the family. One of the really interesting parts of that day is actually when we left that family and we walked, having been with them and having experienced all of this and shared this with them, and then we walked through the streets of this little town, little village, and we came to the central square. And on that central square, small central square, were lots of different altars made by various different villagers. It was in that square that the church bells began ringing, and I believe that the bells are supposed to call the spirits back to their families, to these altars, to the graves. There was lots of birds singing, which to me was like the souls of the children, and that they were all sort of on their way back. And I found that a very emotional, I think, moment. I really sort of felt that these spirits were sort of there around us. We went to the cemetery at Tsinsunsan. That also for me was a very spiritual sort of moment, because it was dark by then. But that moment when you walk in through that cemetery and suddenly you're hit by this thousands of graves, all covered in flowers, but really densely covered in flowers and candles. And there's a stillness around these graves, and there are family members just sitting beside these graves, and all the people who have come to share with them just walking around the cemetery, and there is no noise, there's no commotion, there's just this peacefulness. A tranquility and a sort of serenity there, and the glow of the candles and the white of the flowers. It just, again, it was that very spiritual sort of feeling.
Niños.
4
Son
niños.
sobrinos de ella. ¿O tus hijos no?
Mis hijos.
Son sus hijos.
Here in Canada, in the West, death is something to be sort of frightened of, to be dark. There's witches, Halloween is witches and wizards and devils and ghosts and skeletons and things. And out there, death is treated in a very different way. It's a very respectful and loving way of treating death, and there is no fear around it. I remember Ulysses saying that we're not afraid of this night. This is the night where our family members come back to us. This is the night when we share with them again. And I think that's something that was for me very touching as well, is that the different attitude towards death that is held in Mexico to what we hold here. And it's a very much more uplifting way. It's not, death isn't the end. Death is just a parting for a period of time, and then people will meet again. And I just love the idea of having this one evening during the course of the year where they all, all these spirits come back, and everybody just honors them, and I just found that very, very moving and very uplifting.